Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. I am Jen, and right away we're just gonna get totally real. I've been all over the place lately with reading and with, like, I don't know, my head, but mainly reading. I have been reading a lot. I have been kind of away from here, but I just haven't known really what to do. So that is what today is. I'm bringing you today, we're going to start with some recent reads, and then I will film a few more videos after this. But right now we're going to go with some recent reads. I use the term recent reads loosely because, again, I've just been everywhere. I've had to stop and read some arcs, and so those will be in this video today as well. They're actually already live, so no spoilers there. And honestly, like, I don't even know where we last left off with recent reads because I've just been, like I said, it's just been all over the place. I have been reading for a few recommendation videos that I want to do for you guys, and that makes me happy. Like, I like staying in those genres. It's really fun to find things that I like. So, okay, let's just get into some recent reads, shall we? The first one I'm really excited to talk about. It is The Proposition by Lucia Franco. This came out on the 28th of May. It is a very short novella, only 124 pages, and it's going to be in the back of Say Yes, which is the follow-up to Hush Hush. I don't have the new book versions yet. I know. I need to get them. So these are the original covers. I have this one, and Say Yes is right next to it. Let's see if that doesn't fall. But anyway, I don't have the newish covers that are actually gorgeous. Of course, I'm going to pop them up here. But anyway, The Proposition. First off, I just really love being back in James and Aubrey's world. You get way more of Natalie than I had anticipated, which, again, is really fun because I love Aubrey and Natalie's dynamic as well as Aubrey and James's dynamic. If you haven't read the Hush Hush series, like, I'm not going to spoil certain things for you there. So, but just know, like, those two dynamics are just, they're amazing. And there's always this really fun, sizzling hot chemistry between James and Aubrey, even now after so much time has passed. And in true Lucia fashion, like, she amps it up. She brings it to us. James wants to whisk Aubrey off on a little vacay and has a little proposition for her, which is, in turn where the name of the book came from. And they fly off to Belize for a really exciting weekend, let's just say. So I really love this one. Yes, it was an arc for me, but I just really loved being back in it. I cannot wait to get the physical copies in my hands. I ended up giving this one a 4 stars, and definitely like a 4-star for Spice, y'all. Like, maybe even a 4.5. Like, it was hot. It was hot. So let's move on to the next one, which just happens to be another arc. I didn't plan to get all these arcs together, but it is what happened. But I was really excited to read this one as well because it is the 3rd installment in the Sugarland Creek series by Brooke Montgomery. This one is Fall With Me. So this one, like the other ones, follows another one of the Hollis siblings. This one is Landon's book, and we meet his love interest, which is Ellie. I say we meet, but we really don't meet. We actually meet her in the first one with Noah and Fisher's book. She is actually a racer, and Noah trains her and her horse. But I don't want to, like, gloss over that too much because I really love that there is that additional subplot with the with all of things equestrian. Like, I just really love that Brooke Montgomery really brings in the ranch and everything. Like, it's really fun to be a part of that world. But like I said, this one is about Landon and Ellie. We already know what is going to happen going into this book because of, I think there was a little bit in the first book, but for sure the second book. Like, those two, like, you do get a sense. Like, you know what's going to happen. It's not a mystery that Ellie does get amnesia. And it is not a mystery that Ellie absolutely hates Landon going into this book. I really just wanted to know, like, what's her deal? Like, why does she hate Landon so much? Where does this animosity come from? Is it just, like, a crush thing that we just don't know how to be nice, or, like, what is it? So that is basically the deal. So I was really excited to get my hands on this because A, I wanted to figure out what the heck was going on with Ellie B, I wanted to get back into this world because I really enjoy not only this world, but I enjoyed Brooke Montgomery's writing as well. There's a lot of build up to this. I wasn't expecting to go in and having to backtrack as much as we did because, again, like I said, we already know things are going to happen from the first two books. So I kind of expected just to have, like, a little chunk of history and build up to that and then getting into the story. But it was really like a big chunk of the book, like 40 to 50% of this was getting up to the point that she gets the amnesia. Again, that's not a spoiler. We know that that's going to happen. And to figure out what exactly is going on. When we finally get to the meat of it and the meat of their story and their relationship and they're finally like together, I feel like I didn't get enough of that because I'm going to be honest, like Ellie was borderline unlikable to me the almost the entire book up until that point where she like knocks her noggin and grows some fucking sense and starts to be like an actual human being. I mean, she was really unlikable. And then the conflict I felt because of that huge buildup, to me, that conflict was just summed up way too quickly. For her being so adamant and so hard set on her ways and so rude and mean and just like plain being a bitch, for her to just then kind of do one of those numbers, I was like, what is going on right now? That being said, the banter with these two was completely stellar. I loved seeing the family dynamic again, and Landon, my friend, is a really good dirty talker. So if you're into that, you will really like this. I do recommend reading this. I obviously recommend reading the first two books first because you get a really good feel of the dynamic of what you're reading in the family, because the Hollises are a pretty close-knit family. I mean, they run this ranch together, and there's some other things that that are talked about in this book that you get a better understanding if you read the other books. So I would definitely read those first two books and then read this one. It was good. I enjoyed this one. Maybe not as much as the first two, because I just had some problems with my girl Ellie. Definitely liked her after she knocked her noggin and got some sense into her, but I ended up still giving this one a 4 stars because it was truly good. And that leads me to my last arc that I had for last month, I think it was, and that is Mr. Almost by Kayla Riley. This came out on June 13th. I don't think I told you when Fall With Me comes out. If you care, it came out on May the 29th. Okay, Mr. Almost, Kayla Riley, came out on June the 3rd. This is between Mason and Olivia. This one I had a little bit of a hard time with, not gonna lie. I'm so happy that I was able to receive and read an arc early. We're not always gonna like everything. I really loved the tropes of this book. It really, really stuck out to me. It's what really got me hook, line, and sinker wanting to read this book. And I'm gonna tell you, like, I absolutely love Mason. He is one for the books. He is a top-notch hero, very almost cinnamon-like hero. Olivia was my problem. Why do I have so many problems with my females? She bothered me quite a few times. I even thought about maybe DNFing this book, but I really wanted to give it a shot, and I really wanted to see how this was going to come about. But I mean, I will say that I did get bored with reading this book because I felt like the story was completed by like the 30% mark, and I hate to say that, but I'm being completely honest here. I really thought that it was basically over, and then after that, it was almost like trying to find things that we could have conflict with, and I think that's where my resentment for Olivia came in, because unfortunately it was all put on her to create this conflict, and the conflict was just so asinine with this woman. So here's the thing. So Mason owns this big hotel. Honestly, I feel like it might be like a chain of hotels, but like this is the first one. This is what put them on the map. And when him and Olivia meet, they meet on a dating app, I believe. He needed like a date for a big function that he had, and they really didn't give each other See, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even really remember. I don't even think they gave each other real names. Or, yeah, it must have not. Yeah, I don't think they gave each other real names because they had this amazing night together. Basically, it's like insta love and they both fall for each other, but she runs out the next morning. That is one problem that I had too. We never get their night together. Honestly, we don't even get any real glimpses of their amazing night together. It's talked about as in it was the night that I fell in love with you and we had this amazing connection and blah, but we don't get to see that. There was no flashback to like really much of that. So that I felt like that could have happened. Then we have these stupid little hang-ups of Olivia's pretty much all about money because Mason has money and she doesn't have money. And again, like I said, the book was basically done 30%. So there's a miscommunication. We all hate that. There's a miscommunication, but hey, you know what? Sometimes there's going to be miscommunication and it was handled very well. Hence why I felt like the book was finished at 30%. And then so now she has these hang-ups about money and it's really just irksome hang-ups. There's no real substantial evidence for these hang-ups. And then we kind of get over that and then you have your big conflict. And again, that was like, at this point, I was ready for it to be over. So unfortunately, I just felt like some of it was over the top, but when we got to the meat of their relationship, I did enjoy watching that. I liked Mason a lot. I thought he was a really stand-up guy. I don't think I mentioned it, but their one amazing night that we don't get any glimpses to, by the way, like I'm a little butthurt about that, resulted in a pregnancy, and that is another reason why I thought Mason was not just like phenomenal in a stand-up guy because he meets Ari and it's just immediately like, this is my daughter. I love the relationship between him and Ari. I thought he was a stand-up guy and a great father. So for Mr. Almost, I gave it a 3 stars. It honestly just, it really wasn't for me. It is, I believe, the first book in a series, and I also believe it's the first thing that I've read by Kayla Riley. I am not opposed to reading anything else by her. I thought the writing wasn't bad. It was just the actual story, the meat of the story, the flow of the story, just didn't do it for me. So we're gonna move on. There we go. Next up, I have A Place Without You by Julie Ann. This one is between Henna and Bodhi. I have to say something here real quick. Okay. Julie Ann is one of those authors for me that she's a really emotional writer. I really love her storytelling. I really love the way that she navigates a story, that she puts controversial issues in really well-placed stories. I love the way that she makes you think about greater things. Like we're not just reading, but you're really thinking about like, how would I handle this situation? Wow, the what she comes up with. Like I really enjoy her writing, and I will continue to come back to her to get these stories because I know what I will find with her stories. I have noticed that most of the time it's a hit or miss for me. I always get something out of a book, but I either really really love it or it's just for me. That was what this was. I actually intended to read this for a recommendation video, but very quickly I realized it didn't really fit in with that recommendation video, which is why it is not going to be in that recommendation video and it's in a recent read. So there is that. That is my long-winded ramble of Julie Ann, and if you have read her writing and you kind of feel the same way, like, I don't know, she makes me think, she makes me feel. If you feel the same way or you have an author that does the same thing for you, leave that in the comments down below for me. But let me just tell you a little bit about them. So Henna and Bodhi, they meet at Coachella, which is really super fun. I enjoyed that. But Henna, the more you get to know Henna, the more you realize she is just really self-centered and she is really selfish. And again, it is something that I love about Julie Ann, but just sometimes I can't handle some of the characters. But that doesn't matter to Bodhi because, again, with the connection, there is an ultimate connection. It's very intense. It's very quick. It's almost like we need to come up with something other than insta love because basically that's what it was. But this was basically like insta lust. She wanted him because his name was Bodhi, and it went really well with Henna, and it is what it is. So they spend a really great Coachella together, and then they go off on their separate ways, but not for long, because she finds him in class when she goes back to school. So there is that. But what I think bothered me about Henna is in her selfishness is that she never took Bodhi's feelings into account. It was always like what she wanted, and if there's consequences, be damned. Like, I can get out of them. I'm from a rich family, and they'll take care of me. But like, Bodhi keeps telling you, I need this job. I need to take care of my family, and you find out why he needs this job, and still it is, well, but I want you, and consequences be damned. Even when she has time to travel and find herself, I feel like she comes back and still is kind of the same person. So this one was okay for me. I definitely enjoyed big parts of it. I'm looking at my reading now and wondering why I gave it a 3.5. It's between a 3 and a 3.5 for me. I think I gave it a 3.5 maybe because I just like Julie Ann's writing so much, and she makes me feel, and I feel like that just shows such a great writer. But I just had really big issues with Henna. I really did. I really did. Me and these heroines, man, I tell you. So, do that with you well. It is what it is. Do I have anything else for you today? No, I don't. I know that I said I've been reading a lot, and I have, but the rest will be coming in some recommendation videos and some other things. So there you go. That is it for now. I will be back with you very soon with my next trope recommendation video. Hope you guys like that one, and I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Let me know what you've been reading, what you've been up to, how's your summer going so far. I will catch you guys in my next video, but until next time, happy reading. Bye!
You draw me in slowly, brown eyes stare at me.